everyone, this is Ricardo Peinado Jr. So today I wanted to continue the topic in regards to the top 10 NAHREP principles for the Hispanic Wealth Project. Today I'm going to go over number 5 and 6. I've already discussed items 1, 2, 3, and 4. Today we'll go over 5 and 6, but I did want to give a big shout out. Today is October 1st, 2020, and today the NAHREP conference did end. It was a tremendous conference that was put together. Last week it started, it went into more of the big forums in the presentations, and then it was great that they actually, obviously now that it's virtual this year, they did the breakout sessions and workshops individually these past 3 days. So I just want to give a big shout out to everybody at NAHREP for the leadership, for everybody that in the back end as well, on the back scenes, who does such a tremendous job to put on such a tremendous presentation to bring together so many people and create opportunities for everybody, and just set the example as to what can be achieved when you set your mind to something. So now I'm going to go into the principle number 5 and 6. Number 5, and what these represent to myself and how I interpret them and what my recommendations are. Keep in mind, like I said, just because I have a certain perspective the way I look at things, like I've said before, I'm not perfect, but these are my recommendations, and something you can take and maybe go with it. And if for some reason it doesn't work or you have different opinion, please share it with me. I love to be able to expand my knowledge and my wisdom based on others' opinions, because it'll help me understand a different perspective. Because just because it's your perspective doesn't mean it's right. And sometimes you got to be humble to be able to educate yourself and grow. So I want to go into number 5, which is invest at least 20% of your income in real estate and stocks. The reason behind that is because they are the best and safest ways to build wealth. Investing in other businesses does not count. So going into that topic. So right now, obviously, during this COVID phase of what we're going through, obviously there's a lot of question marks. Right now, real estate is booming. It's doing tremendously. And then you have stocks, which are also booming right now as well. But the concern is, okay, well, what if I put all my money in right now, I buy a house, and I put all my money into stocks, and then suddenly in 3 months, this thing something people don't see, or something happens, and suddenly everything goes haywire. Well, that's why it says put 20%. It doesn't say put everything in. It says put 20% in. And in the long term, you obviously will end up likely winning. I can't say it's guaranteed. It also depends as to where you invest and at what time you invest. That's really critical. So keep in mind it says 20% is the recommendation. And so you want to look at what's going on in the market. Right now in real estate, depending on what location you are in the United States, and also what area you're looking for. I'm in the Bay Area personally, and single family homes are just booming. They're being multiple bids. They're going up in value. But then if you look at the commercial side, the multi-unit buildings, I mean, I can tell you for a fact, I saw I get emails. I got an email of a building that was selling for $1.5 million. That thing's down to 1.1. A $400,000 price reduction. I saw another one, I think it was either 1.7 or 1.6, and I think it's down to 1.4. A $200,000 reduction. So that's the cost of an actual home in some places. So that's just significant in regards to showing you on how, depending on what market you're in, things are dropping. But the thing is, it is wise, is if you can find a good investment and you want to put in part of your down payment, get in that property, I always recommend finding out a way that you know that your market rents can cover your mortgage. Say for some reason, you buy it as your primary residence, you move in there, you're living there for, let's say, 6 months, 8 months, and you figure, you know what, I can't hack this out. I'm going to lose my job, or certain things are happening, now I don't have the actual income to be able to sustain this. Well, you want to make sure you're prepared, so if you have got to move out, and you've got to maybe go move in with family, you have somebody who can help pay that rent to subsidize that money to make sure you're not going to lose that house. You don't want to ruin your credit. The one thing is if you're a big corporation, you see it often, big businesses, they can go bankrupt and they have people running to give them more money to keep their company afloat. When it comes to us as individuals, what's unfair, I feel, is once you hit with a bankruptcy, you got 7 years before you can even consider getting a loan again. And you got to go through a lot of hurdles just to get to that point to get approved. So make sure to know one thing is credit is everything. To an individual and to a business thing, maybe it's easier to get around it. But when it comes to being an individual, your credit is everything. If you have great credit, I've said it before, I think in a prior video, where you can walk in, sign a paper, and walk out with $100,000 from a bank, but it's going to take you years to save that. Obviously, some of you may save it in a month, depending on who you are, and that's tremendous. But just giving you a perspective in regards to it's not easy to save that money up from a job and income as compared to being actually getting it as a loan. So keep that in perspective. So make sure that you're mindful of that when you're making any kind of real estate decision. Make sure you look into all factors in regards to if you have to rent it out, or how it's going to happen. If, say, you did have a downturn or there was a reduction in value of the actual property, how comfortable you feel staying in the house? What would you want to do if you don't feel comfortable and you would just bail, things like that? It's better off not buying the house then. You're better off waiting. You don't want to make a decision or go into something that you don't feel is appropriate for you at this time. Make sure you think about that before you just take those next steps and just take a plunge. In regards to the stock market, same thing. Make sure that when you're considering if you're buying individual stocks or any kind of, any kind of stocks or portfolio, anything you're going to invest in, keep in mind, things could drop. You could buy an individual stock such as, Amazon, and say, things happen where suddenly the demand for their products for certain things is just not there, or a competitor comes along, because there's always somebody looking to try to take away the business from somebody else. And say somebody does come in that can actually take away some of that business, and those prices start falling. Well, you have to understand it's a long-term investment. And if for some reason you see that it is going to be it's going down and it's not coming back, say you buy a different stock, you have to also look at, okay, let me just take that money and put it in a different investment, in a different stock that maybe it'll go up. But you don't want to be jumping around either. Make sure you make a wise decision, get someone who actually is in the investment field, or educate yourself. A lot of times we devalue who we are or what we can do ourselves because we're not a professional. The thing is, even the professional makes mistakes and they take risks that sometimes are not called for. So make sure that you yourself do your due diligence as well on your professional or whatever you're doing and whatever investment choices you're going to make. So that way you're prepared, in that the best thing to do is, if you make a decision and it doesn't work out, be comfortable or be able to sleep at night knowing that you took the time to invest on your end and that it just didn't work out. And things aren't always going to go the way you want them, but then sometimes they are. And at least you make sure you don't shy away from making investments, because just to say, look, I'm not going to do anything is the worst case scenario, because then you're missing out on opportunities because of fear. So make sure there's a lot less. You want to mitigate your risks by actually getting educated on whatever area you're going to invest in, whether it's, obviously this recommendation was real estate and stocks, but just make sure you're always prepared to know what's going on there. And then number 6, it says know your net worth, including the value of your business, because you can't improve what you don't measure. So that's important, because oftentimes, we'll have a business or we'll run some kind of idea that what we want to do, but then we have no idea what our value is. So take into account, what your expenses are in general in your household, whether it's your business or it's your personal life. You want to take into account all your expenses, what's going on, all the income, all your assets. Determine what's going on there, and keep in mind, if you have it all in real estate, your assets can change. Your net worth right now could be $1 million. There's a crash in the housing market. It could be $500,000 now, or even negative, depending on how much you actually own mortgages. So make sure you're always mindful, always stay humble. It's tremendous when you are able to make a lot of money, but the thing is it doesn't make you who you are. Who you are is the way you treat others, support others, and be there for others. I mean, that's the thing is you can tell your own story, but the beauty of it is when somebody tells your story. And if you're someone who's hardworking, humble, kind, and help others, your story will be told. You don't have to say a word about who you are, because others will say it for you out of respect and admiration. And so that's the thing, is you want to make sure that you're accountable, though, in regards to your business. Look into it, see how much money's being generated, what expenses are there, seeing how you can improve overall. And so know the value of your business to see, okay, what are the goals you want to set for the next week, for the next month, for the next quarter, for the next year, and then from there just build on it. So once again, number 5 is basically focus on investing at least 20% of your income in real estate and stocks. And then number 6 is to know your net worth and your value of yourself and your business. So go ahead and make sure you focus on those 2. Once again, I want to say thank you so much to the NAHREP family for tremendous support throughout, and then this incredible presentation and conference that just took place last week and this week. Hats off to seamless presentation, tremendous speakers, and just so much education that was shared this past week. So thank you so much, these past 2 weeks. So thank you so much. God bless, and we'll talk soon. GIG.